Hi, welcome. I've gathered some of the items that I received for my birthday because I think some of the metaphysical qualities of these things could be beneficial to a whole bunch of people, especially the crystals. Now, I'm going to start with the crystals. I'll move these books aside. I haven't even cracked this one open yet. This one I have been loving, but we'll get to that after the crystals, so hang tight. Okay, so I did hunt for some of these items a couple weeks ago with hubby, and hubby kindly bought them and stuck them away for me for my birthday. These two, I was so thrilled to find. These are both peacock ore. One is much darker than the other, and it was from a gem store, and it is in Halifax. It's called Amethyst Boutique, and there's the phone number there. Hope you can make it out. So if you live in Canada, it's quite a store. I've never seen peacock ore in the shops that I've been to in this size. And I ended up, as I say, buying them both, or getting hubby to buy them both for me, because I couldn't decide. You can see how much darker this one is. And they pack a punch. So I'm not entirely sure if I'll use both at the same time or whether one will, enlighten me as to how it wants to be used versus the other one. But that's part of the process of working with crystals, right? I knew in the store that the energy was right and it was strong. So that's why these babies got to come home for me. But I'm going to tell you some of the properties that go along with these crystals when working with them. So, what did I find? I have to read notes because I don't remember everything. I have not worked with the crystals enough to know. I have one small, or maybe two small peacock ores, but they're very tiny. These are substantial. So the other name that came with my research on this is it's also called bornite. When I think of the peacock, or I'll automatically go to the peacock itself, the bird, and I think of all those eyes and all that seeing potential. The iridescence came up, but what I liked was it's also referred to as the stone of happiness. So with all this iridescent that's in here, and the bluish colors, not only does it bring calm, but it has the ability to balance the chakras and all of the chakras because of that iridescence that it holds. And because it is the stone of happiness, it brings optimism, of course. It uplifts the spirit, and it can transform energy. And because I am a Reiki practitioner and also delving into ancestral work, this was very interesting to me because it allows us to access those higher levels, can clear stagnant energy, and ease anxiety. And maybe that's what I was feeling when I was holding it in the store. Just that groundedness. Although it's iridescent, it was grounding at the same time. So it does say that it can be an aid to shielding against psychic attacks, I guess because it's raised our energy and we can be aware of it. The shimmer that it holds is a way also of reflecting, like the all-seeing eye, harmful vibrations. It was, interestingly enough, great for stimulating creative energy. And it is also the artist's stone as well as the writer's stone. So it opens that higher way of thinking, removes blockages, and allows, I guess, the information to flow and those ideas to flow. Great to be used in manifesting rituals. It did suggest, holding your peacock oar and putting that intention into it and letting the crystal itself amplify that. Take that energy, take that wish, those intentions, and really put it out there into almost like a door opener. So it is an aid for desires and dreams and bringing that into reality. So it's a great stone for supporting you on your magical, artistic, creative journey. Now, it did say be very careful about keeping waters and things off it, because it would be better to smudge it if you wanted to clean it or put it near selenite and quartz. You can charge it under the moonlight. And lately I've been placing my crystals on the ledge behind my Santa Muerte altar and asking her for aid in blessing and magnifying the energies within my crystals. So she is in charge of clearing and charging my crystals for me. So these are the two peacock ore that are now happily situated in my magical space. So let's put those ones aside and grab another one. Now these two pieces, they look an awful lot like my moonstone chunks that I got, and I do have those here. But the moonstone isn't as craggy. Similar color though, but these were designated orange calcite. And some of the times when I pick up crystals, I don't know why I want them or need them. I just know I gotta have them. So let's get rid of the tissue so we don't hear that rattling. And these are the orange calcite, one much deeper than the other, similar in light and dark between my peacock ore ones that I picked. But these ones here, interesting in that it said after Samhain and all the workings we did with the Day of the Dead and our ancestors, these are good stones to turn to sort of recharge. Now, it did say that it helps to embrace reality in everyday life. So after we've been working with the ancestors and such, and all the rituals that went on for Samhain, it's nice to turn, it said, to the strength that these stones can offer. It does tap into the sacral chakra. And if that is a little bit murky or not as clear as it should be, these stones can clear that. And I will actually place these on my sacral and, clear that energy, heighten those abilities to then reach the higher chakras and tune into all the creative strengths, energies, visions that I might need. Now, also, it is good, one site said, now that was care of, I think the site is called the 11th house, that she combines these with the herb rue. And I personally can't because I'm allergic to touching rue, but I suppose I could put it on incense burners and things like that, because it helps also to deflect ill emotions. So she suggested that together it would be great for doing some healing when you're doing ancestral work, because you can maybe go back and remove some of the bad habits or repeating energy that runs through a family. So it would be an aid also to get back to some of your forgotten gifts. That's where it's opening that sacral chakra. I might add the rue to some poppets. That would suggest as well, with some incense. And it also protects, as I said, against the evil eye. There were a few other things that she suggested. To look at it as a way of accessing and revitalizing and an aid to purifying your sacred space. So it should bring harmony. And again, back to ancestral work, it can help you find solutions to those blockages and the strength to face some of those old habits that we can have running through families. But I also like the fact, because if you've watched any of my videos, I like to play in the creativity as well as in the metaphysical energy. So this is a good stone for playfulness. Another site said it brings a lot of light to the darknesses, placing you on your path so that you can move forward with warmth and that fiery energy, because they are orange. So I'm tapping into that energy. So that is why these orange calcite are now in my presence. And let's go on to this one, which I had never seen before. This one is Ulexite. And in certain, you can see it here. You can see through this stone. And why? Well, this is pretty magnificent. And as I say, I had never seen it, but I did like the shape of the stone. Now, let me just tell you about this one. Because you can see through the stone, it's very good for third eye work, opening interdimensional gates. And its most common color is this sort of not super clear, but whitish stone. And it is great for metaphysically working with or connecting to memory and other beings. I'm like, yeah, baby, come on, come on. So it was named after a German chemist who had worked with this. And his name was George L. Ulix. And it is used, apparently, so the store merchant said, in fiber optics, because its vibration brings clarity and connections, which is, again, why I want it for divine connections. And because you can see through it and it magnifies things, you got to get the right light and the right portion, but you can see through it. Anyway, it's great for vision, for dreams, for astral travel. It allows you to see past those blockages, move forward, boost your ability. And because of the clarity that it offers, it brings you the ability to actually, when you work with it, read other people's energies and their intentions so that you know better how to protect yourself or where they're coming from. I like the fact, too, that it allows you, with this clarity, to also absorb that and use that to solve problems and point you on the right path, put those footsteps forward. So those are some of the crystals I got, and I got something else to show you as well. Now, I haven't even cracked, as I say, the book yet, but I had to have this, and it was so highly recommended by Celina at Essence of the Moon. So I'm really looking forward to this. And because if you want to see a full review that was just done by her, just go to her station, and I'll try to include that below, because she went almost page by page. And although I was fascinated, I still wanted the element of surprise. So I'm going to be delving into this, but also, dun dun dun, I've never seen this on the internet, just stumbled onto it on Amazon. This is quite spectacular for working with Santa Muerte as well. It has spreads and rituals, and it says it will aid you in mastering and reading of the powerful divination tool of tarot. So I have a couple decks that I can, and I have yesterday pulled them out and started to look at them to see which one of the two or both I will use, and I'm going to include that in another video. But this book, it's, let's see, it's only 44 pages. It's by Victoria Ray, who has an awful lot of books out there. There is a magical blessing on each of the pages. But I had to have this because of the information that it suggested would be contained in the book and how to work with the cards. Now, the cards, as I said, didn't come with this. And I searched all over Amazon for the cards and the kit together. Couldn't find it. So that is a bit of a dilemma for really delving into the cards and their magic. But it does use the 4 elements that you find in tarot. So it's nice that it talked about here the water cups. They're going to be referred to as the spiritual waters. Air, which is swords, is incenses, and pentacles are powders. And I liked in a further part through the pages here, it refers to the pentacles as the land. That was really nifty. And the fire cards, your wands, are your candles. It is just packed with a little bit of information on every page. So those are the 4 elements. And she does discuss at the first here, when you're doing a reading, that, here, a reading will give you a snapshot of the energy present at the time of the reading. It will also tell you what will happen in the future if nothing that is happening now changes. And she suggests reading that again because, again, down here, nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you get a card, as she explains in here, indicating an outcome or probable outcome, well, if you don't do the changes so that doesn't happen, nothing changes if nothing changes. It really is quite matter of fact, which is great, especially in a little tiny handbook. I wish there was a bit more on ritual in here, but there isn't. So I have other books I'll have to refer to for that. If the future you have a positive card, it means that the energy of the present is strong. And to consider and consolidate that future, what you have to do is continue on the same frequency where you are now, doing the same or better so that you keep that high energy, that vibration that will lead you to that great result, right? Perfect. So I'm just going to adjust the camera a bit more so that you can see this better. This is nice here because I plan to do this consecration for the deck that I want to use in this method that is described in here. So, all of the tools that you would need and how to do the ritual in this instance is given to you. Really nice. So yes, I'll be consecrating my cards that I have. You can summon her for assistance, and especially before a reading, to do this little verse here. You can have your own thing, do whatever you want to do. But it's nice to see how someone else has suggested, opening up the reading with a prayer. When you get to the ritual cards in here, it's neat to see some of the items that they suggest, which is why I'm going to have to go back into my magical spell books to know how to make some of these that will be used for the rituals and for the reading. So here's what some of the cards look like. And this is where it came in and it talked about, the pentacles being land and that the green cards. So I guess if I ever do get one of these sets, it will help because they're color coded. So you've got green for the land, red, yellow, and blue. Appropriate to the suits, yes. Try to ensure the 4 elements are always present: incenses, candles, water, and powder. And that's just right up my alley. I can't wait to make some of these things and have them on hand. Whenever you are going to start a ritual, invoke Santa Muerte with holy death of my heart. Be present in this situation, for we need your protection, your guidance, and your blessings. Yay! Okay, so then you get the spreads. And it's, written out for you what each of the positions stand for. So you've got the spread of the Holy Death's hand there. And to make a ritual, use the tools that appear in card number 4 and 5. And you'll see on the cards what that means. Okay, the spread of the 4 winds is there when you're feeling overwhelmed emotionally or for some sentimental situation. The 3 kings spread. It's suggested this could be done at the first of the year. So that was nifty. Or the first day of the month, or, some quick luck suggested down here. A spread for health, a spread for 2 paths and decision making. A spread of the Holy Death's heart. To perform a ritual, use tools, you see, in positions 1, 5, and 6, and 8, whatever comes up. The scythe, working Holy Death spread, cause and effect spread. So you can see you're getting quite a few spreads. Then you get to the card meanings. And as a tarot reader, these seemed kind of close. The Ace of Wands upright, good time to start a business or career, feeling energetic and optimistic about the future. And so that is spelled out there. And this is where she includes bringing in the tools. So if you get the card upright, you might want to have the Holy Death candle. If you get the card upside down, you might want Holy Death 3 skulls. So if it's reversed, you might be trying to start something but doing nothing about it, looking to the future with the power turned off. That's good. And then you would do your ritual around it to see, why am I not supporting my idea, my dream? So it doesn't use the major arcana. It uses ace all the way up through to 10, but their 10 is the Page of Wands. So I have a deck, it's showing 9 here, but I do have a deck I can use with the basic symbols, wherever I saw that again, these ones. A very inexpensive deck with these symbols on it. And I'm just taking out now the cards that I need to put this deck together. So it goes 9, and then mine goes 10. So you got Page of Swords, Knights, and it skips the Queen. I guess the Queen is Santa Muerte. And we go on to the Kings. And that is it. So I've been highlighting all kinds of things in here. I've been looking at all the incense that it's calling for, fast luck candles. It could get expensive, so you want to make your own. So I'll be looking through my books for jinx powders, river water I can get, sea water I should have got when I was in Halifax, collecting rainwater, myrrh, patchouli. It is endless. So I think this is going to be something I work on quite a bit. Now for the last little thing to show you, which is extra special because hubby made it. Okay, it's a little bit big and we haven't finished the top yet. He surprised me with this, so I'm thinking maybe of putting some sigils on the top, because in here is where I can store my pendulum board. I have the cloth tucked under there. It fits it perfectly. I really like the fact that it looks like the things of game boards, I guess you would find in a cottage. It's unfinished inside. I really liked that because it's painted on the outside, this silvery gray. And as I say, I've been searching for a box, and he knew I was searching. One where I could put the candles, that I was using for my rituals, maybe a smudge stick, maybe a pendulum. I did find some of my herbs I put together for divination at the altar. And, I just got to be aware that with mugwort, sometimes it says it causes cramps or abortion. So I'm not going to get pregnant, of course, but I didn't want to ingest it. So this is something I would probably spread around the board or put it in a burner to increase the ability to see beyond the veil when working and to connect better to the ancestors or whoever I'm working with. So I can tuck that in there. I'm deciding if I want to include any incense cones. Then, of course, it will require, hang tight, some sort of an incense burner. And I do like this one because it's weighted. So if I was outside working, the wind wouldn't blow this over. But that can change. Who knows? I'll have to get it together. And I am looking at some of my prepared oils. I have some for psychic power. I have Van for keeping and vanishing away negativity. But this body balance, it smells quite nice. And if it's going to bring me that sense of balance and calm, that might be good. But as you can see, I'm having fun today just trying to figure out what I want to put in here. But the idea with this board is when I finish doing my reading, I said to hubby, I want to be able to put it in something with a lid, close things down, and know that that energy is not interfering with us, myself, or whatever, that I'm closing it down. So that's why the box. You know, you give your thanks, you release all the people you were working with, and you close it, you shut it, you seal it. The door is shut. So that's what this is about. So, my friends, that's what I got for my birthday. And I am so thrilled, and I have work to do. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go, and let's get on with our day.